You probably don't hate your apartment, you just hate how you're using it. And the reason why I know that is because I work with people who move into better homes all the time. More square footage, nicer lighting, better finishes, and great neighborhoods. And yet they feel exactly the same. They're still restless, they're still uncomfortable, and they still scroll on Pinterest at 1 in the morning thinking, why does my space still not feel right? Here's the thing that I never hear designers say. Most people don't actually fail at decorating because they have bad taste. They fail because they're designing a photo and not a real life. You're arranging your home the way you think it's supposed to look, not the way you're actually living in it. Because your couch is technically correct, but why do you never sit on it? And your dining table looks beautiful, but you're always eating your food in your bed. And your bedroom supposedly feels calm and inviting, but you're always wired and exhausted at night. And that's because these are not design failures. They're a lifestyle mismatch. If you don't know, my name is Cooper, and today we're going to be talking about why you don't actually hate your home and you hate the way that you're living in it. Most homes today are set up like performance spaces. Everything faces outward, everything is staged, and everything is polite. Your living room feels like it's a set waiting for guests to come over that never will. And you designed your bedroom around a hotel room. And you can't actually cook in your kitchen without moving a dozen things off the counter. And slowly, without realizing it, you stop actually using your home. And that's why it doesn't feel grounding to be in. I find that here's where a lot of people get stuck. They say, oh, well, I followed all the rules of designing my space. Why don't I like it? Yeah, that's exactly your problem. I've said this a million times and I will say it again. Pinterest rooms are not designed to be lived in. They're designed to be approved by the masses. And so when you go to design your space using a Pinterest formula for making things look beautiful, a lot of the times it's not actually going to function for your everyday life. And a lot of the spaces you see on Pinterest are emotionally neutral. And that's for the reason that they have broad appeal. They don't take risks, they don't reveal habits, and they don't tell the truth about who actually lives there. So when you copy them, your home's going to feel flat, vague, and just uncomfortable. And it's not because it's ugly, it's just because it has no identity at all. And I want you guys to ask yourself this question and answer it honestly. Where do you actually spend your time? It's not where you want to, I can tell you that. It's where your furniture is suggesting you to. Is it on your bed with your laptop open, on the floor leaning against something, at the kitchen counter scrolling on your phone, or in the one chair that you always choose to sit in? Because that spot, not your couch, not anything else, is the emotional center of your home. And most people just completely ignore that dynamic. When your space doesn't support your behavior, it causes a lot of stress for whoever lives in it. Because if your space isn't designed for a healthy lifestyle and to support you as a person, you're not going to want to be in that. And if you do, you might be a little bit miserable. I know this is a controversial topic, but designers and decorators have been stereotyped as this for a long time. But I swear to God, people need to stop designing around their TVs. Your living room is not a movie theater. Your living room is supposed to be where you live. It's basically like putting a giant phone in front of your bed. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Aren't you supposed to spend time with family and friends and loved ones in your living room and not just be watching House Hunters? Like, no. All that does is invite bad behavior into your life. It's totally okay to have a TV in your home. I have one in my home, but it's in a room tucked off to the side with a door, and it's completely separated from my main living spaces. That way I'm not encouraged to be on a screen every day. But when you do things like that, you're going to feel lazy, you're going to feel disconnected, and just unmotivated in the first place. Because what's actually happening here is your home is asking you to be somebody you're not. Your space might want you to host, but you feel like resting. Or your couch might want you to sit in perfect posture, but you just want to sprawl all over the place. And it tells you that you're a minimalist, but you actually want visual stimulation so you can feel alive. When your space is like this, your nervous system is just never going to relax. You're never going to feel comfortable, you're never going to feel at home, and you're not going to walk in the door and feel a weight off your shoulders. People hate the story that they've been telling themselves about what their home is supposed to be. If you go out and label your home as temporary or not my forever home or just a rental, you stop treating it like an environment that actually deserves your attention. You start making weird half choices. You don't commit to furniture because you'll say that you'll replace it later or get something better. You don't hang art because what if you move? Like, it's that hard to go to Home Depot and get some spackle and a thing and just do it. It's not that hard. And you don't invest in lighting because it's just not worth it to you. And then suddenly you're living in a visual limbo where nothing is terrible, but nothing is great. And your home feels emotionally off because you put it in a waiting room. Because here's the truth about it, right? If you don't design your home like it actually matters, you won't magically just know how to do things when a better one comes along. Because design is a habit, it's not a destination. You don't just automatically move into your dream house and suddenly you have all this information and knowledge in your brain about how to do things. Like, no. It's not as simple as looking up living room design formula and going off of that. It's just not. You know, people think their dream home will fix their indecision, but it won't. All you're doing to yourself is putting yourself in a bigger space with more space to be confused about. Like, it's just gonna feel even more overwhelming than it already does. And that's why I'm so like pro small space. Like, if you live in a studio apartment or a 1 or 2 bedroom house, like, you are right where it's at, because can you imagine having to go into a 5 bedroom house and having to design all of that from scratch? That is a lot of money and a lot of time. And I think that these smaller spaces are critically underrated because it allows you to do a lot more because you have a smaller space. You know, you can make those investments and they will have a bigger impact. Because the truth is that it does take money to do things to your home. Yes, there are things that are more affordable, and yes, there are things that are more expensive, but the bottom line is that it costs money to do so. And that's why I think these spaces are so great, because you don't have to put in a ton of money for a big outcome. So if your space feels disconnected, ask yourself this question: have I actually decided what home is for me right now? Or am I just treating it like a placeholder until I relocate? This is going to be a little bit controversial with you guys, but you just need to hear me out, okay? The number one thing that I see with clients and people in general is that their home feels off because they are designing for a version of themselves that just doesn't exist. For example, people will buy a desk that they'll think they'll work at every single morning, or a dining table because they wanted to host dinner parties, you know, or an accent chair for the corner of your living room because you thought you would sit there with a cup of coffee in the morning time. All of these things are designing out of aspiration and not actual reality. Personally, for me, I think that the homes that are the best are the brutally honest ones. You know, they're designed around where you're actually gonna sit, what you actually do when you walk in the door when you get home, how you relax, and how you move throughout it during the day. Because if you eat on the couch every single night, your dining area should support that reality and not just sit there, because that's just a waste of money. And I'm not saying that you should just design your home around all the bad habits that you have, but you should take that into consideration if you're gonna go out and spend thousands of dollars on something. So the bottom line here is just to make sure that your home is designed around the reality, because good design doesn't necessarily mean designing for the best version of yourself possible. It's about self-acceptance while encouraging some healthy habits a little bit more. Because if you have this idea about how clean girls just are so productive and work so hard, and yet your living room is all beige and you feel depressed, that is not the reality for you. That is not the reality of what a productive self for you actually looks like. You know, in the same realm of talking about this, so many people have bad homes because they are really scared of having bad taste. So instead of making decisions, they just take the safest route possible. Neutral sofa, neutral rug, neutral art, nothing offensive, and nothing memorable. But nice is not a feeling. Nice is the equivalent of visual elevator music. And at least good taste, as the internet defines it, kills all creativity. Because it rewards sameness, it punishes any risk, and it trains you to copy instead of interpret. The homes that feel the best are not the ones that check the box of every single design rule out there. They're the ones who make intentional and clear choices, even if they're a little bit slightly wrong. Because I would rather walk into a home that's maybe a little bit confused and really confident than one that's perfectly styled and completely hollow. Because your space doesn't necessarily need to be impressive to people. It just needs to be specific to you. If your home feels off, it could be because nothing in it actually belongs to you. It just belongs to, you know, taste culture. And taste culture changes every single 6 months. So there's no use in actually trying to do that. Because you guys are allowed to like things that are not approved yet. You're allowed to like things that I don't like. You're allowed to like things that your friends don't like. As long as you like it and you're happy with it, that is good. I don't care what any designer or decorator or anybody says. As somebody in that industry, that is good. Your home could also feel really off because it's missing a layer of life. And I don't mean decor or furniture. I'm talking about actual signs of life in your space. Because a lot of people decorate their homes as if it's a museum and not an actual person living there. Everything is staged, precarious, and like tucked in perfectly and uninterrupted. Like, that's just not a functional space to live in. Real homes feel interrupted. They have books that are mid-stack, chairs that might be slightly angled or off, and objects that exist because somebody actually uses them, not just because they were styled. Take this for example. I don't know if you can see it right now, but there is a small little wooden bowl right next to my computer. That is a hard drive in that bowl. Is it the prettiest thing to look at? No, but it exists because I need it to make these videos for you guys. A lot of the times, furnishing a space is not exactly what's going to complete it. A space will feel good because it's in use. That's why a lot of the times I find people asking themselves, why does this older home feel so much better than my new modern apartment? And that's because it has wear and tear. It has built-in character. It has that semblance of life that modern builds just don't. And that's because it's existed with people living in it properly for years and years and years. Stop asking yourself what you need to add to your space for it to look nice. Ask yourself what it needs to be activated. Where do conversations happen? Where does rest actually occur? And where does your body naturally go? I am going to give you solutions. Don't worry. It's not just going to be theoretical and psychological in this video. Let's take this for example. Are you sitting on your bed all the time? Stop fighting that activity. Put in maybe a backrest or a really comfortable headboard behind your bed. Add some lighting, make the room feel a little bit more intentional so it's actually a nice place to sit and relax. And if you're constantly avoiding using your living room, it's probably because something about it feels performative or really like emotionally exposed. And if your space feels really chaotic and overwhelming, it's probably because you don't have enough permission zones, zones to place things down when you come inside, places things can stay without guilt. For example, I think that the number one thing every single person needs to have in their home is a drop zone when they enter their place. Maybe a little table with keys, a shoe rack, a couple miscellaneous shelves for you to drop things down that you might bring in with you. At the end of the day, design isn't about control. It's about containing things in a way that's functional for you. Because when your home works for you, you are going to feel calmer. You're going to think clearly, you're going to rest better, and you're going to stop craving to change things all the time. People think that they want a new house or a new apartment or this or that. But what they actually want is a feeling of relief. And relief doesn't come from added square footage. It comes from aligning things in your space. And here's what I want you to take away from this entire video, if anything. If your home has felt off, that's not because you're bad at design or you have bad taste. It's because nobody ever taught you how to work beyond aesthetics. Pinterest doesn't teach you, Instagram doesn't teach you, and most design advice online stops at buy this, instead of asking why something feels right or wrong. And once you start to understand how scale, lighting, density, and layout actually work, your home stops feeling like a problem and it starts feeling like a project you can finally understand. And honestly, most people don't hate the feeling of their apartment. They just hate the feeling of not knowing how to do something correctly that they were never taught. And that's why I make these videos for you guys in the first place, to help you see your homes differently and to stop the narrative of gatekeeping around design knowledge. I'm not here to sell you trends or tell you to buy something. I'm here to try and teach you guys to think like a designer or decorator so you don't need to rely on trends or Pinterest images anymore. And if you're at a time where you know your space has potential, but you're tired of second guessing yourself and buying things that you end up returning, that is literally what I do for a living. I am an interior decorator. I work with real people, a lot of the times you guys. Doesn't matter if you're a renter or a homeowner or have a small space or an awkward layout. I help you guys turn your confusion into clarity and get you guys a space that you've always dreamed of and that actually functions for you. There's a ton of really great information about it on my website, so go ahead and check that out. Actually, I have a new one in construction that will be done for the new year, so I'm so excited to give that to you. I love you guys so much, and I hope you are having a great day, whatever day you're watching this, and I will see you soon.